Welcome everyone to today's webinar with Art Akerman. I am Suzanne Currier and I am the president of ICF Virginia. So excited that you all have joined us for this important topic. And thank you to Art for presenting it, which is visibility without self-promotion. So ICF Virginia is celebrating International Coaching Week this week, and we are so excited to have a lot of content available. And so you can find out more on our website at icfvirginia.org. And ICF Virginia is a statewide coaching chapter for the International Coach Federation. The International Coach Federation is an association of coaches globally. There are chapters in more than 150 countries, and there are over 60,000 members of the International Coach Federation. And here in Virginia, we're a membership that is growing, and we are now over 600 members, and we exist to further the profession of coaching and to help create awareness, to help create more coaches through certified and credentialing, and offer value to our members. And so I will hand it over to Art Akerman, who is of Executive Forge Coaching, and he is also one of our board members here in Virginia. Art serves as our director for partnerships and outreach. So I'm really excited to learn from Art today as a participant in this webinar, and also for all of us to learn from his experience. So Art, thank you so much, and I will let you take it from here.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm really happy to be here and talking about this topic, one of my favorite topics, something that comes up in my conversations with clients all the time, and that is how to increase your internal visibility within the organization. It's something that's critical for advancing your career, and something that doesn't always come natural, especially for people in technology, for tech professionals, which is most of the clients that I work with. I'll start with a little bit about me. I spent 30 plus years in technology, started my career as an engineer, worked at some top companies, progressed to senior leadership roles, and somewhere along the line, I found passion for coaching. I became ICF certified coach 3 years ago, and started to focus more and more on helping others with their careers and with their leadership skills. First, I was doing it as a leader, and I actually saw huge improvement and a huge impact as I started using more of the coaching skills as a leader. So if you are a leader, if you have any kind of people management or leadership responsibilities, I highly recommend that you look into coaching skills. There are training and other ways and books of how to become a better coach. About a year ago, I made a career transition, and now I coach full time. So today in this workshop, I'm looking to accomplish a couple of things. So first of all, we'll talk about how visibility impacts your career growth. We'll talk about some mindset shifts around recognition and visibility, and some of the typical beliefs, limiting beliefs that people have around increasing their visibility. I'm going to offer you a structured approach for how to actually go about becoming more visible within the organization. My goal is that you come away from this workshop with a set of actions that you can take tomorrow to start increasing your profile in a way that's authentic and very much aligned to who you are. I'm not going to try to make you into something that you are not here. I want to start with a story. It's a story about Raj. who worked on my team, and he was one of the most brilliant software architects that I've ever worked with. He was a master of designing very complex software solutions. He was very technical and just an amazing architect, software architect. When he came to Microsoft, where I actually hired him, he had very low expectations for his career growth. It was a lateral transition. He kind of went from being an architect somewhere else to being an architect at Microsoft. And he was in this role for a long, long time. And he had this mindset that the most important thing for me is to do my job and to focus on doing a good quality job, and good things will come to me if I do that. That was his mindset, and unfortunately, that mindset has not served him very well for many years. I saw a lot of potential in him as a manager. I thought that he could do more. I thought that he could operate at the next level. But in order for me to be able to help him get to this level, we had to change some things. We had to shift his focus. We had to work together to improve his visibility, which, to be honest, in the beginning, he was very um, he didn't want to do. He felt that this would be kind of showmanship or not authentic, or he has to sell himself and all those things. So we shifted some of those perspectives, reframed some of that, and the outcome was actually quite remarkable. When I first time, I remember that this first time when I floated this idea to my manager that I wanted to promote him, the manager said, "Who is this guy? I don't know him. None of my peers know him, and you want me to promote him to the senior architect, somebody who needs to have influence and kind of drive initiatives across departments. How can he do that when nobody knows who he is? Nobody trusts him. How can he do that? So he's not ready, right? So that was the initial reaction. After we went through, Raj and I worked on some of those things that I'm going to share with you today. And next year, I came to my boss and said the same thing. It was the same person. It was the same results. He had the same results. He had, basically the same skills, but the reaction was completely different. My boss said, "Yeah, I know Raj. I hear about Raj all the time. He's ready. Let's do it." So that's the story. And I'm assuming that if you are here, then you probably experienced something like that. You probably have those types of thoughts that, hey, I'm working hard, but it's just not happening. I've been passed for promotions, other people getting promoted, and they are half as qualified as I am. I do a great job and I get all these results, but my performance ratings are still, meet expectations. So what's going on with that? And then I hear this feedback from my manager or from others: you need to be more visible. But nobody really tells me what I have to do for that. You just, yeah, you need to be more visible. So if that's your experience, then you are in the right place. We'll have some conversations about what you can do differently and change that. So I call this a invisible contributor trap. And this is kind of what typically happens. And this is what was happening with Raj. So you're probably sitting there and thinking, well, this is my manager's job. They should know what I'm doing. I talk to them every week. So why are they not there and advocating for me? I don't want to do this. I have enough work to do, and it feels like it's self-promotion. And I always like make fun of people that like send all those funny emails and talk about all the great things that they do. So I don't want to do that. And there is a big cost of kind of staying invisible here. So and we already talked about Raj here. So it's not just your career is not growing, but you miss a lot of opportunities. There may be roles opening up that you should be tapped on the shoulder for because you're qualified for them, but you're not because nobody knows about you, right? And you generally probably feeling that you're undervalued and you're making all the stories in your mind about why that is. So, um, and the situation is even worse if you are working remotely. For the last 11 years of my corporate career, I didn't have an office. I was a remote worker. And I came across some research recently that talks about the fact that for remote workers, it's actually even harder to be visible, to be recognized. So 50% less likely that if you're a remote worker, you would be considered for promotion compared to your counterparts that um, show up in office more. And it is due to visibility. Um, it's also, there are some numbers around like visibility to senior leadership, and this is where remote employees on average have 20% lower visibility, and senior leadership, other people who make all of those important career decisions for you, right? So, so those are some of the numbers that should make you concerned um, around your visibility, especially if you are working remotely. Let's see. Okay, so I've been scaring you and kind of giving you all this bad news for the last let's say 12 minutes. So here's the good news. Let's kind of shift to some positive here. Visibility is not about your personality. Is anybody can build skills to become more visible, and you don't necessarily need to be loud or fake or be someone that who you're not. Raj didn't change. He was still very technical, very heads down, and all of that. He didn't all of a sudden start meeting people and telling jokes and all of that. You just need to develop a process that works for you, that can help you improve the visibility in a way that's very authentic. But it is definitely doable, and it's definitely doable in a way that will feel authentic to you. So I want to introduce you to this framework. I call it ACE framework. It's a cool name, I think. It has three-letter acronyms, so it's got to be cool. And it stands for awareness, connection, and evidence. I came up with that, so I'm the one to blame. So we'll get the deep dive into each one of those, but at the high level, it's about sharing your work more and sharing it early and often. It's about building relationships and building a relationship with the right people. And then the last piece is probably really most important and most difficult to do sometimes is tying your work to the business results and tying your work to the business results that other people care about. So let's go through this in a little bit more details. So let's talk about awareness. What does that mean? So share progress, share what you're working on, especially some of the important decisions, important results that you're achieving, the context of what you're working on, why it's hard, why other people need to know about your work. When you share this progress, you need to share it through the channels that people actually care about and people use. So in your company, if email is the king, then that's where you should try to raise that awareness. If people are on Slack, or if people are on Teams, or some other places like that, then kind of think about where those people are, what channels they use to communicate, and how you can plug into those channels. And definitely don't assume that people know what you're doing, so you have to tell them. So in Raj's example, what did he do? So as an architect, he was working on some really important decisions. So he started this biweekly email for key stakeholders of decisions that he was working on. He called it Architecture Insight. So he framed this as early awareness. He framed it as draft. He was looking for feedback. He was looking for input. He would share some early stages architectural diagrams and things like that. So it did a couple of things. First of all, it actually helped him be more successful in what he did because it created a buy-in. People were providing input early. He was getting valuable feedback. He was improving his solutions. People felt more engaged and they were able to contribute. But then secondarily, it also improved his visibility because now people knew who he was and what he was working on. So that's what he did for awareness. You could do something similar. Again, there are different ways that you can share your progress. The key thing here is to think about how to make this valuable for other people. And believe me, people want to know what you're working on because it's going to help them connect the dots. It's going to help them expand their horizons. They would be able to contribute, which people love to contribute and provide feedback and be part of things. So don't think about this as self-promotion, as, hey, I'm just out there bragging about what I'm doing. Think about that as bringing value to others through sharing with them the important work that you're doing. Okay, and of course you need to think about the level of details and what they really would value. So you need to be careful with that communication and not like bore people to death with all the details. Okay, so that's A for awareness. By the way, I should have mentioned that we will have a Q&A at the end. I know Suzanne can see if you put in anything in the chat, but at the end we will open up the chat to everybody, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Okay, C stands for connection. So you need to build what I call a power base. So power base means that you have a network of people who are going to be aware of what you're doing. They're going to be your allies. They're going to be mentors. They're going to be your sponsors, your champions. And here's the important thing: those cannot be just people on your team and your manager. You have to think about kind of broader organizational perspective here, and you need to get beyond those immediate boundaries to increase your visibility. So how do you do this? It's easy to say, yeah, you need to be visible outside. There are always some kind of cross-functional initiatives going on in your company. There could be employee resource groups, or it could be just any other cross-functional initiatives. If you don't know, you can ask your manager. You can look at your company news. So joining those types of cross-functional initiatives is a great way to expand your network and meet some of those people that you don't work with generally on a day-to-day basis. There are other ways to do that. You can simply reach out to people. I know it's scary. I know, you may think, well, if I reach out to this senior leader, they're going to ignore me. They're going to, what are they going to think about me? No, I can tell you, I've been in those shoes. I've been a senior leader. Every time somebody reached out to me, I welcome the opportunity to actually connect with that person. First of all, you get instant credit for even trying, even like doing something that not a lot of people do, for the courage to actually reach out and try to make this connection. Second of all, if I'm working in a particular area in the company, I don't necessarily have visibility into what's going on someplace else. Or if I do get that visibility, I get a very filtered view from my peer or from company news or from whatever, right? So getting a very authentic kind of a from the field, from a horse's mouth type of perspective on something that's going on in another area of the business is super valuable for me as a senior leader. So think about that. Think about that again. It's the message here. It's not just about you, getting value out of that. The other side is going to get value as well. Of course, you need to think about this and you need to tailor the message for that type of audience. You need to think about what would be interesting for a senior executive in another department if I went and I talked to them. So what about Raj? So he volunteered to present at a joint um, review meeting that our organization had every month. It was a joint review between our engineering team and the product management team. And he presented on his work. There was always a lot of questions, and this was actually the reason for those joint reviews, for us to increase collaboration, to kind of get that bi-directional flow of information going. So his presentations were spot on. It was very, very well. They were very well aligned with our goals. He did do what I was just talking about. He went ahead and he scheduled some one-on-ones with some key people in other departments, with some directors and VPs, and he framed those as an alignment check-ins. So he was working on technology side. He would reach out to a business executive who kind of would be ultimate benefactor of whatever technology we were putting out, and he wanted to get them some updates. He wanted to get some feedback from them. And that was, again, very well received. The other thing that he did is he actually reached out to somebody in another organization, to a junior product manager, and he offered to mentor them. He actually heard that they were looking for a mentor, and that created another relationship. That PM told about that wonderful mentoring relationship to his peers, and he ended up actually mentoring the whole group of product managers. So that's what Raj did. Again, we kind of worked together on a bit of like how to message things, how to tailor it to different organizations, and the biggest shift that helped him take those steps was that shift that I talked about, thinking about this as a value for others versus self-promotion. Okay. So moving on to E. So E is for evidence. And what that means is when you talk about what you do, whether it's in a review, whether it's in this communication that I mentioned, you send some updates about your work, you need to make this about the business impact. You need to translate that work into the business outcome. So you actually speak the language of people that you communicating to, and especially speak the language of the senior leadership, because that's how they think. They think about what what are the outcomes, what are the results for the business that this work is producing. They're less interested in your actions, I did this and this and this. They're interested in what were the results of those actions. So with Raj, he began showing how his architectural choices actually impacted some of the business metrics that we were the leadership cared about. So he was making some architectural decisions, some technology decisions that led to reduction of system downtime and reduction in support cost. And that was like real money. That was the real value that people cared about. He included those and other metrics in his presentations, in retrospectives. He created kind of some simple visual slides that showed, here's where we were before with some of the technology, and here's where we are now. And he communicated those changes in a way that was very easy to understand for his audience, especially non-technical leaders. So those are some of the changes that he made in his approach. It's actually funny because he was already thinking that. I mean, he was really, really good at understanding the impact. He just never thought that it was important for him to communicate that way, or he thought it was somebody else's job. Well, guess what? It was his job, and he turned out to be great at that. So hopefully that made sense to you, this ACE framework. So now I'd like to move to a bit of an exercise, because as I said in the beginning, I would love for you to come out of this session with some clear actions that you can take. So the way that this is going to work is I'm going to ask you 4 questions. I'm going to give you about 20 seconds to think about each of those questions. And if you have a piece of paper, or you're in your computer, or you could type those answers, please do so. But it's not going to be hard. You're not going to need to think about this for a long time. So here you go. And those answers will help you build that plan, help you think about that next step that you can take in order to increase your visibility. So the first question is this: who are the 3 stakeholders who would definitely influence your career progression in your organization? So think about who those people might be. Probably your manager is one of them, but who else is in the room when the decisions are made about promotion, merit increases, new opportunities? So I'll give you a few seconds. I'll start the timer here, and I'll let you think about this. Okay, so how was that? 20 seconds was enough? Oh. All right, so that's question number 1. Question number 2. When you think about those 3 key stakeholders, how much do you think they know about you? And how much do you think they know about what you do and contributions that you make? You can use maybe kind of the scale from 1 to 10, 10 being they know everything, they know who you are, what your strengths are, what your opportunities are, and they know what you're capable of doing, and they know what results you're driving. That's 10, right? And then 1 is they don't even know your name. Right? So kind of think about that range and think from your perspective where each one of them is, like 1 to 10. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to think about that. Okay. By the way, if this is not enough time, can you IM Suzanne and let her know? Is anybody struggling with time here, or are we okay?
I'm hearing
Ample
it's
time.
the right amount of time.
Okay, good. Moving on. All right. So the next question is, think about one step that you can take this week to increase your visibility. And think about the ACE framework, what we talked about, right? Whether it's awareness, whether it's connection, or whether it's evidence. So one thing that you can do this week. I should have had some music. Mark had this great idea to have music, and I didn't. I'll just sing. Da, na, na, na. Okay. And the last question is who you can work with, who can support you in this step, and who can be your ally, that person that can support you ongoing as you work to increase your visibility. So think about that one person that can help you with that, and why. Give it a few seconds. Okay. So this is just a short exercise to get you thinking about this, and hopefully you come out of this with some actionable steps and some people that may be able to help you. So I mean, this is all very simple. You know, I tell you all of this, it all makes sense, and there's this great story with Raj, so life is great. But I want to kind of talk about some things that may hold you back. And once again, just reiterate how you may want to reframe those things, those limiting beliefs, to actually take some of those actions. So the first one, I don't want to self-promote, right? That's not me. I'm not the one, like, I do a good job. Good things should happen to me, and all of that. And I have a great manager. By the way, you may have a great manager, and your manager may be doing a fabulous job promoting you and supporting you. Now, if you are, then you're in luck, and you should hold on to that manager for as long as you can. But unfortunately, even the best managers are struggling to do the right thing, to give support and visibility to everybody on their team. You probably saw this week, Microsoft reduced 3% of their workforce. By the way, I used to work there, so it's very personal for me. So my kind of thoughts go to everybody who lost their job. About 7,000 people lost their jobs this week. And I'm actually offering free career coaching to those who were impacted. But my point is that there were two big reasons why Microsoft made those cuts. One reason is they wanted to invest more in AI, and they needed capital to free up capital. But the second reason is that they actually flattening the organization. They are getting rid of the middle management. They are increasing the ratio between manager and individual contributor, because they believe that in the world of AI, the teams should be a lot more self-sufficient. They don't need as much direction, and they don't need as many managers. So what that means is now managers have a lot more people to work to cover, and they're going to have even harder job helping you become visible and helping you with career development and all that. So anyway, so that's actually addressing this third point, that the manager should be doing this for me. So take ownership of your career, advocate for yourself, and we talked about some ways to do that. But going back to, I don't want to self-promote. Think about visibility as the way you make contributions, the way you create value in an organization. It's not just your work. It's not just the kind of output that you create, whatever you do as a technology professional, but it's also letting people know, helping people connect the dots, helping people understand the risks and mitigate those risks. Because if they don't know what, there are so many examples, right? Like you know all of that. You put a new code in production and it breaks things and nobody knew about it. Like that's not a good thing. So anyway, so those are some limited beliefs, and those are some ways to kind of reframe and think about them differently that will help you make some of those actions that we talked about. I asked that question earlier about somebody who could support you, because it's very hard to do it alone. You need that community, you need that power base of other people who are going to know what you're trying to do and will support you, will be your accountability partners as you're doing some of that. Because it may be uncomfortable, right? It's like going to the gym. You hate going to the gym, but if you go with somebody else, you hate to let them down, so you show up anyway, right? So same thing here. You may not want to reach out to those other people or senior leaders. If somebody is actually going to ask you every week, hey, did you do that? It will help you actually make those actions. So you could work with a coach. That is a lot what coaches do. We provide that accountability partnership to keep you on track, but it doesn't have to be a coach. It could be a colleague. It could even be somebody within your personal circle. So key takeaways. Visibility is a skill that you can build. It's not who you are. It's more about kind of building that muscle. You can use this framework if it's helpful for you. And if you take some of those steps, you will unlock new opportunities, and you will improve your career projection for sure. This is one of the topics that I work with my clients on. As I mentioned, I actually just came out with this new offering. I called it AI Ready Tech Career Accelerator. Oops, shoot. What did I just? Sorry. Did I lose my share? Okay.
Do you have it back? Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, sorry about that. So AI Ready Tech Career Accelerator, it's basically a coaching program where I work with tech leaders to help them progress with their careers. We cover topics like improving visibility, building the networks, improving executive presence, kind of getting the career directions and things like that. It's if you're familiar with Agile, the program is using Agile methodology. It's 6 biweekly sprints. Each sprint ends with a specific outcome, but it's not a kind of rigid program. It's something that definitely is tailored to each individual goal. So if you'd like to learn more, you can see this website. You can go there and read about it. Yeah, so that's if you want to, if you want some help with that. That's all I have. Thank you so much for being here. And with that, Suzanne, I'll turn this over to you, and maybe we can do some Q&A.
Yes, the chat is open for members of this webinar to ask Art questions. Your chat will come to Art and myself. It won't go to everyone. So if you have any questions for Art today, please share. If you do not, you're welcome to sign off. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm also curious if you have any feedback and what you might have found the most valuable out of the session. If you could put that in the chat, that'd be great as well. It will help us improve those types of sessions in the future.
Yes, we will. We are recording today's session, and that will be available on our YouTube channel. So thank you for asking about that. Let me see here. I'll read the questions. Thank you. It's very insightful and encouraging. The 4 questions and taking time to think about your points. Really, that exercise you did was very helpful, Art.
Great. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone. Appreciate you being here.